Have you ever had to hunt a tiger, or have you ever hidden from a giant elephant? No? Then have you ever put your homework off until the last day? Or have you ever started studying just a few hours before the exam? Yeah, I know. Those questions might seem completely unrelated. But get ready, because I am about to show you that hunting a tiger and finishing your homework are actually the same thing. Right now, inside your skull, there's a circuit older than farming, older than language, built for a single job, keeping you alive when something is chasing you. When that circuit fires, your heart speeds up, your vision narrows, time turns heavy, and all at once, nothing in the world is left except you. Only you and the threat. This system was actually designed to hunt a predator, but it has a small problem. Your brain does not know the difference between a tiger and a deadline. That is why at 2 a.m., a few hours before your exam, that circuit suddenly switches on. Your brain reads the deadline as a physical threat, and the 10 hours of work you ran from all night, you finish in 90 minutes. So are you really lazy? Or is your brain just waiting for the surge of adrenaline that will force you to focus? I am Dex. Today, I'm going to clear up this extraordinary mechanism our brain hides from us. Let me say this up front. The urge to get things done at the last second is nothing new. It is older than humanity itself. An American psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called it the flow state. You get so absorbed in a task that time disappears and you forget yourself. In 2018, in the Journal of Consciousness Studies, Csikszentmihalyi and Janie Nakamura tied flow directly to human evolution. To them, this state was not built for an abstract goal, it was built for a real-time chase. Not for a date on the calendar, for the prey in front of you. The traits Csikszentmihalyi saw in the people most prone to flow were these: curiosity, persistence, sharp attention. This is not the profile of a student, it is the profile of a hunter. He made his first observation back in the late 1960s. He watched painters. These people ignored hunger, exhaustion, discomfort, but only until the work was done. Exactly the way our ancestors silenced their entire body while hunting a predator. His model was actually simple. Flow is born when your skill and the challenge meet as equals. If the challenge is below your skill, you get bored. If it is far above your skill, you get anxious. But when the two are perfectly balanced, the old hunter inside you locks onto the target. This is what kept a tracker on his feet for hours, chasing prey that was hard but catchable. And the strange part is that the same machine still runs exactly the same way today. In 2000, the same psychologist found this in students. When the difficulty of a task matched their skill, students reported far higher engagement and a far stronger experience. The same neural contract. The predator is gone, replaced by a problem set. Here is the part that runs against your intuition. You think focus is some modern discipline you are missing. It is not. It is a very old reflex you already own. It is just locking onto the wrong target. So, what happens inside your brain when that reflex kicks in? Two things at the same time, and both are the opposite of what you would guess. The first is transient hypofrontality. The name may not ring a bell, but the meaning is simple. During flow, the front of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is turned down for a while. This is called transient hypofrontality. The prefrontal cortex is your inner critic, the part that plans, that watches itself, that asks, is this good enough? What if I fail? In flow, that voice goes quiet. Think about it. You assume focus means adding something. More effort, more willpower, but your brain does the exact opposite. It shuts down the part that keeps second guessing you. The second thing happens at that very moment, a release of norepinephrine. In 2018, a study by David Cluett and Mara Mather from the University of Southern California, published in the Journal of Neuroscience, revealed this. Under pressure or threat, a tiny nucleus in the brain called the locus coeruleus releases norepinephrine, and that sharpens the attention you give to the target that matters. You lock onto the priority even harder, and everything else fades. Their findings were clear. Threat measurably increased the power to remember goal-related scenes and weakened the connection to unimportant information. This is what you call tunnel vision. On one side, The spotlight opens all the way. On the other, your self doubt is turned down. Now let us get to that moment that feels like magic. The moment you finish 10 hours of work in 90 minutes. Actually, I explained how your brain really focuses in an earlier video. I would say give that one a look too. It feels like magic to you. It is not. It is three things colliding at once. First, arousal. There is an old principle known as the Yerkes-Dodson law. Performance peaks at an arousal level somewhere between moderate and high. Last minute pressure pushes you right to that threshold. Not too little, not so much that it paralyzes you, just right. Second, the collapse of options. With hours left to the deadline, every possibility narrows to two, either work or fail. That binary choice crushes indecision, perfectionism, and the fear of not being good enough all at once. What paralyzed you all day long vanishes in the panic. Third, the tension of unfinished work. In psychology, this is called the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain cannot let go of an unfinished task, so it keeps prodding you. That tension dumped all your remaining fuel in one shot. This is what the 90 minutes feels like. Optimal arousal, collapsing options, and sharpening attention, all hitting at the same time. Scientists even have a name for this deliberate delay: arousal procrastination. The consequences of the future feel weightless to you until they get close. So you wait until the threat becomes real. And this is exactly where most people reach the wrong conclusion. So I am better under pressure. This is my superpower. No, this is where the whole thing turns over. In 2015, a study proved how stress weakens this very system, and it found something that sums up the whole story in a single sentence. Yes, under threat, you lock onto the target and perform better, but when the level rises and stress spins out of control, those same chemicals weaken the connections in the front of your brain, and control passes from the thinking brain to the reflexive brain. So the point is not whether stress and pressure exist, the point is the dose and the control. Think of it this way. The biohackers of 2026 try to keep arousal deliberately inside that optimal band. A clean, controlled sharpness. The procrastinator, on the other hand, takes the same chemical in a chaotic panic with no control at all. Both run on norepinephrine, but one is delivered with care, the other is like a storm out of control. As you might guess, that storm carries a heavy price. Repeated, uncontrolled stress leads to a real physical loss in the prefrontal cortex. Over time, you lose the communication points that neurons build with each other. That brain fog the next morning is not a metaphor. The structure that does your higher thinking really has been weakened in that moment. That deadline high is actually a debt drawn from an account. The chemical wave that gave you that tunnel vision, when it is run hot and often, is the very thing that leaves you foggy and drained the next day. Because that reflex was not built to run every night for a whole semester, it was built for a single short sprint after prey. And there it is. So isn't our brain magnificent? When you truly have to do something, it wipes out everything that was stopping you all on its own. An extraordinary mechanism. Now remember that circuit from the beginning. That ancient system that cannot tell a tiger from a deadline. That system is not broken. It is just running in the wrong era. And here's the truth. You were never lazy. Your brain was simply waiting to hunt. But there is a small secret. Panic is not the only thing that wakes that reflex. What really calls it is the meeting of skill and challenge at just the right balance. So do not wait until you are the prey to start hunting. And you do not have to do it in midnight dread, sacrificing your sleep. You can build the same focus in daylight with your own hands. Put a clear boundary on the task, add a little difficulty, and lock onto a single target. The tiger was always there. From now on, you decide when to call it.